story of the client I should have said no to as soon as I saw her book an appointment. Disclaimer, this is not my story time, it was sent to me on Instagram. Before I started doing makeup, I had gotten a job waitressing at a local restaurant. And for those of you who have ever worked in the food service industry, you know just how competitive being a waitress can be. I was a really hard worker, and just a few months after me working there, I had been promoted to shift manager. This really made some of the other waitresses mad, especially this one girl who I remembered from high school that I knew of, but I didn't really know her, you know what I mean? And that's where the story time really begins. It's important to note that I was in a relationship at the time I started working at the restaurant. Let's just call my boyfriend Devin. And when I applied to work there, he had told me that one of his exes used to work there and he wasn't really sure if she still did or not. Knowing this before going into the job, I didn't really make it a point to be friends with any of the other waitresses that worked there. Flash forward, I've graduated cosmetology school. Devin and I are still happily together, and we just moved into our first 2-bedroom apartment where I had turned the second bedroom into a full makeup room and had started doing clients' makeup out of our home. I was getting about 2 to 3 clients a day on the weekdays and about 5 or 6 on the weekends. This included Fridays. One day as I'm going through my appointment books for the next week, I noticed that one of the girls I had worked with at the restaurant prior to becoming a makeup artist had scheduled an appointment for the coming Friday. I thought that was pretty interesting because, like I'd said, I never really made it a point to be friends with anyone I had worked with there, and it never really seemed like any of them liked me very much either. On the day of her appointment, she arrives at my apartment 30 minutes early. I was still working on the client before her, so I just had her wait on the couch in my living room. As soon as I finished up with the client before her, I went into the living room and I greeted her promptly. Instead of saying, "Hi, how are you? How have you been?" the first thing she asked me was, "How long is this going to take? Because I'm in a hurry." Let me just tell you that all of my clients receive a text notification before coming into their appointment. It includes a short waiver that they all must sign before arriving to their appointment, and it also lets them know that a full service of makeup will take about an hour to an hour and a half. So please schedule your appointment accordingly. I reminded her of this, but instead of acknowledging,
when my grandma passed away, she left each of her grandkids money to put them through college debt-free. But this fund stayed in our parents' names until we turned 18. My sister got pregnant her sophomore year of high school. She was panicking about college. The baby daddy left, and she hasn't tried to find him to get child support. All of that stress caused a hard, complicated pregnancy, but both are okay. She graduated this last December with about $2,000 in debt. I figured she used all the money grandma left for her pregnancy and had to take out a loan. I got accepted to my dream college, but my mom was insistent that I stay local to save money. I told her grandma left me more than enough, but that's when she told me they used all the money that was supposed to go to me to take care of my sister and her kid and her expensive pregnancy. I broke down and just lost it crying. I was shouting how they screwed me over for the kid that fucked up. My sister got upset and asked me if I'd rather have had her live on the street unable to raise her child so I can go to college and have a good life. I said yes, it's not fair that she fucked up, got drunk, and slept with so many guys she doesn't know who the baby daddy is. But I'm the one who has to be punished for it. The argument got too heated, so I left. Did I go too far? I feel screwed over because I'm being punished despite being the one that followed the rules.
My boyfriend has a longtime female friend who's clearly into him, and I don't know what to do. This is gonna sound like a typical insecure girlfriend, but I promise it's not like that. My boyfriend and I have been together for over 6 months, and he's really great. He has a friend that he's had for years who is a girl. Normally, I'm not the type to be all like, "You're not allowed to hang out with a single girl alone," but I'm considering telling my boyfriend that he's not allowed to hang out with this girl alone. This girl is obviously so into him, and she definitely wants me to know she's coming for him. She keeps saying stuff like, "You don't know him like I do yet," or "We used to go to that place together all the time long before you guys started dating." She also had cute pet names for him, and I didn't like it, and as soon as I heard it, I told my boyfriend I didn't like it, and he made her stop. Oh my gosh, Josh, remember when we went on a hike, just the two of us? That was the best day. I asked her straight up if she was into him, and her response pissed me off. She was like, "I know it's intimidating how close he and I are, but don't worry, you're the girlfriend, I'm just a friend, right?" With a smug smile on her face.
So did you guys know that our typical search engines are only 4% of what we see on the web, which is like Google, Bing, Firefox? I'm going to be talking about some of the most popular websites on the dark web, so get ready because this is going to be intense. So here's a photo example just to give you guys an idea of what this looks like. At the top is the area that we do our research for school on, or stalk our exes, I don't know. And then 500 times larger than the surface web is the deep web. The deep web is filled with information that we cannot access, such as medical documents, iCloud, personal information. Like, I obviously can't Google what your family history or intake forms say, so that's where this is stored. And then the dark web holds the last 6%. This part of the internet was created by the US Navy in the 1990s, and it was made so spies could share info without being tracked. Well, then the government decided to release it to the public. And you need the specific software to go to it called Tor, which stands for the Onion Router. It hides your identity and gives you access to non-surface web pages. And on this section of the internet, you can do things like buy people's credit card information, get counterfeit money, participate in drug trafficking, hire hackers and hitmen, and way worse.
Story of the time that we got caught sipping at Christian camp. So every other year during winter break, my parents made me go to this Christian camp. I quickly made friends with these 3 girls and 2 guys. The older we got, the more boring obviously it became, but we were all forced to go. So I'm pretty sure this was when I was maybe 16 or 17, and this year my friend was 22. So she had brought us a clear one and a dark one, and she brought them in water bottles. So we started exploring the entire camp. It was a pretty big camp. And we ended up finding this basement that had a pool table, a mini fridge, a TV. It was actually pretty cool. It was kind of like meant to be, you know what I mean? We're like, wow, we found this really cool chill spot. So the day we decided to sip was actually the last night of the camp. And my friend, who was 22, her parents ended up coming that last day because there was also meetings for adults. So anyway, we're all getting ready in her room, and she told her parents, don't go in my suitcase because it's really messy and I don't want you guys to judge me. Thinking that that would be not suspicious, but obviously it made her parents suspicious. And that same day, we had this really Story of the time I got caught sipping at Christian camp, part 2. So we're all chilling in this basement, getting ready to sip. So we all sit in a circle, hold hands, bow our heads, close our eyes, and we pray to Jesus Christ Almighty that we do not get caught. And like I said, we had these Bible studies, and earlier that day we talked about Jesus turning water to wine. We also talked about doing the right thing, that God sees all. So anyway, we had our miniature cups, and all of us at the same time said, hoop down the hatch. And we all quickly realized that we did not sip what we thought we were. And you know what we all thought? That this was the doing of the Lord. Jesus must have turned our sippity sips into mango snapple and water. We all started freaking out. We started praying again, being like, please, Lord, just turn it back into what we wanted it to be. So we got back to my friend's room and her parents were like, so you guys want more mango snapple?
Me and my daughter used to be best friends. We did everything together, and she truly was the light of my life. But things started to change on her teens. Moodiness, lashing out, lies, etc. I just thought it had to do with her age and that she would grow out of it. I really tried everything. Family therapy, long talks about how much I loved her. None of it worked. She would either roll her eyes back or spit more of her venom. My husband works really long hours and isn't much help, to be honest. My husband is white and I am black, and my daughter is mixed, but she looks white and she really takes after her father. I really don't know what I did wrong, but her dislike for me began to become pure hatred. She would question all the time how someone like me could be her mother, when she was white and I was black. At some point, she demanded a DNA test, and I said sure, if she paid for it, and she was not pleased with the results. She is 17 now and began dating this white boy, and she is head over heels for him. She refused to let me meet him and told me that having a jobless N-word for a mother truly ashamed her. I am a stay-at-home mom, and I don't think I've ever experienced such pain. Long story short, I couldn't take her abuse anymore and decided to go back to my family in Cuba. My daughter couldn't be bothered. Am I the asshole for catfishing my underage sister on Tinder and humiliating her in order to teach her a lesson? Last week, I was using my younger sister's phone because mine was dead and I needed to call a friend. Dialing my friend's number, I saw a Tinder notification of some dude messaging her. Immediately, I asked her why she's on Tinder. She's 17, and she grabbed her phone back and said, none of your business. I decided as her big brother that I wanted to have a little fun with this. I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she's just swiping for fun. So I didn't want to go straight to ratting her out to our parents. To test if she was just using for fun, I decided I was going to make a Tinder profile of someone else and message her to see if she responds. I asked a good friend of mine from back in college, who happens to be a male model, if he'd mind if I used his pictures and explained the situation. He thought it would be hilarious and told me to go for it. I created the account, set my age to 22, set my swipe radius to a mile, and quickly found my sister's account. Her age was set to 19. Lie, she's still in high school. So I was definitely more suspicious of her now. I super liked, and less than an hour later she matched and messaged me. I decided to set up a date to a fancy restaurant downtown for Sunday afternoon and told her